All right. Hello and welcome to this live stream. Megan here. First off, thank you for being here. I'm so excited that you're tuning in. I would love to know who you are. Drop a comment, just letting me know where you're watching from. And I'd love to know your thoughts on yesterday's video when I talked about the phase one of birthing your heaven on earth. So, today we're going to talk about phase two, which is trust. So, yesterday I talked about how you have, when you're trying to birth your heaven on earth, you're trying to birth a life that lights you up in co creation with the universe, that the first step is receiving. First, it's receiving that vision, receiving that inner gnosis, receiving that clarity from a place that arises deep from within, deep from your womb space. And when you receive guidance from that place, that it's in connection with your soul, it's in connection with your higher self, it's in connection with universe and goddess. So it's a vision, it's guidance that is there to support you in on your path of your becoming, on your path of stepping in alignment with your highest potential in this lifetime. So once you've received that inner gnosis, you've received that clarity, you've received that vision, then the second piece that's really key is to trust. Trust. This is one of those words that is so much easier said than done. It's so easy to say, like, I trust you, I trust in myself. And then the nuances of actually the depth and to the degree to which you trust really shows up in your mindset and your behaviors and how you perceive the world and how you show up in the world. So everything, trust is the foundation of everything. So if you are in the process of birthing a creative project or birthing your heaven on earth, then it's really important that once you get that vision of clarity, that then you trust what you receive. And how do you do that? How do you build that muscle of trust? Because it truthfully is an inner frequency. Trust and faith are frequencies inside of you that you can develop, just like you can build your muscle at a gym. You can develop that inner muscle of trust. And there are some key technologies that really support you to do it. The most powerful way that I have learned how to trust is by establishing a relationship with Goddess, by establishing a relationship of trust that no matter what is happening in my life, whether I have resources or money or, a job or whatever it is, that no matter what's happening on this earthly dimension, that I am held, that I am supported. And so developing that inner muscle of trust in something that is so much larger than me, that is so much larger than the material reality that we live in here on earth, has been absolutely paramount to being able to truly trust. Because we can say that we trust when everything's going well, right? When you receive that vision, or you can say you trust when everything in your life feels good, when all of your ducks are in a row, when you feel held, you feel supported, you feel nourished. And then as soon as shit starts to hit the fan, or as soon as things get out of line, or as soon as COVID happens, global pandemic, right? Choose any of your things, or maybe you get laid off from your job, or whatever those real life situations are that are really trials. I look at them as initiations. That when those things happen, that's the true indicator of the depth in which you trust. Because as soon as you are in the experience of fear, that means that you are no longer holding that frequency of trust, or that your ability and your capacity to hold the frequency of trust has really diminished, or it's not as strong as it could be. And so trust is so key in part of the process of the process of birthing your heaven on earth, because this is a process of co-creation. It's not about doing things like status quo or doing things the way that society necessarily recommends them, or doing things the way that they are traditionally done, or doing things the way that our culture presents them out to us. So the process of co-birthing and actually doing this process in alignment with your higher self, in alignment with Goddess, in alignment with your soul's purpose, it generally asks you to step outside of the normal. It asks you to step outside of the box. It asks you to step outside of duality, and it asks you to step outside of what is comfortable, because you're tapping into your wild, divine feminine part, which is the process that is untamed. It is wild, it is unknowable. So oftentimes it looks like, I do not know how to pronounce your name. Is it Rejane or Rehane? Thank you for being here. I'm so happy you're here. If you could let me know how to pronounce your name. It looks like you have a Spanish name. So then it makes me think it would be Rehane, but I'm not sure. Let me know. Oh, but because if you're in Brazil, then it's actually probably Portuguese, right? Anyways, where was I? I get distracted sometimes. That's the fun part of these live streams. Is like being on a thought. And then they're like, oh yay, somebody made a comment. I totally forgot what I was talking about. Yes. So when you're receiving these visions from your womb space, they're often, outside of the lines. They can be wild, they can be colorful, they can be totally challenging to your ego. They can be something that completely evokes fear within you because it's something that you're not doing and it's something totally different. And so that's where the key process of trust is. And that process of trust, it's like within that process of clarity, there is a discernment to be able to trust that this is actually for you. And so that's where it becomes really essential to be able to not only trust in your own abilities, your own intuitive abilities, but also to trust in the wisdom of your higher self and to trust in Goddess, to trust that you're supported. And I find that both of those are really key. It's like being able to trust that you are worthy, that you are capable, that you are strong, that you are receiving the guidance, that you are intuitive, and just trusting in your own self is so key. And that has to be combined with trust in something bigger than yourself, because when it's only trust in perhaps your egoic desires, or if it's only trust in your egoic self, it can be really hard to really land in a deep sense of felt safety with the intuitive guidance that you're receiving. But when you know that you're connected to something bigger than yourself, that you know when it's not just you connected into your egoic personality, but when you know that you're connected into Goddess, or you're connected into your higher self, or you're connected into universal wisdom, or you're connected to your loving ancestors and your spirit guides and your angels, it becomes so much easier to trust in the guidance that you're receiving, because you know that it's not just coming from yourself, but that it's coming from within yourself. And as it's coming from within yourself, it's also coming from all of these forces at play that are also cosmic, that they are interdimensional, that they are, they transcend duality, they transcend space and time. And so it gives that confidence to be able to follow through with that vision, which is the next step, which is resolve. So I'm not going to get into that yet, but I do want to say that in this process of birthing your heaven on earth and using your womb space as a vessel to birth and to co-create visions, that this part of that process is the gestation period. Just like there's a gestation period for growing a baby in the womb, there is a gestation period for an idea, right? There's a gestation period for things coming in. So you have that vision, you have that conscious conception, and then it gestates in the womb. And part of that gestational process takes trust, because all of those doubtful thoughts can come in, right? Like, is this going to work? Am I capable? Can I do this? Is this right for me? Is everything healthy? Is it growing? You know, all of these questions can come at play. And so part of that gestational process is trust, so that you can let go and allow the vision to co-birth within you, so that it's not you controlling what it becomes, but it's you trusting in your own innate wisdom and in the wisdom of universe to co-birth that vision with you. So that's the gestational process, and that's what we go to in gate 3, I believe, in Wealthy Goddess. And the goddess ally, the goddess mentor that we work with is Mother Mary. A huge reason why we work with Mother Mary as somebody who can help you develop mastery in the skill set of being able to exercise that muscle of trust, in being able to develop that inner frequency of faith inside of yourself. The reason why Mother Mary, she's a great mother archetype. Yes, she's most commonly known as in Catholicism and Christianity. However, she's an archetypal frequency that there are instances of her showing up all over the world. All over the world, there are instances of like this same type of figure who's generally, you know, surrounded in like the blue, white ray in the same way. And all of these different cultures around the world have called her different variations of mother. And usually great mother or mother is somewhere in that name. So she is that archetypal frequency of great mother. And what that means is, when we think about archetypal frequency, we're not thinking about our personal mother here, right? We're thinking about an archetypal frequency who births all of creation. And we think about that on an archetypal level. The mother is the one who creates, she sustains, she provides, she nurtures, and she nourishes. So she literally is the provider of everything. And so when you start to anchor your faith into that archetypal frequency that is held by Mother Mary, it's just a tangible way to be able to experience that frequency inside of yourself, is to give it an archetype and a face and a name like Mother Mary, that it becomes so much easier to actually trust. And when you trust, you're able to let go, and you're able to allow the vision to gestate, so that it's not you thinking with your rational and analytical mind, but that it's you allowing the destiny of what that vision was always meant to be to gestate and to form and to be created. So that's the phase 2 with Mother Mary. And again, that's the 3rd gateway in Wealthy Goddess that we work with. So it's these processes, it's like we can talk about them, and then putting them into practice is its own set of skills and mastery. So it's a Brazilian name. Wonderful. I appreciate very much your work with Mary Magdalene, the eternal light of the goddess. Oh, thank you. I see that your profile picture is Mary Magdalene. So beautiful to have you here, Magdalena Rose sister. And yeah, I'm curious if I pronounced your name even remotely right. And if there is like a phonetic pronunciation of your name, if you could type it for me so I might be able to pronounce it. Because I've never studied. I guess I'm assuming that the language would be Portuguese if it's a Brazilian name, but I'm sure there's other languages in Brazil as well. Wonderful. So I invite you to stay tuned for the next phase, which I'm going to be talking about resolve, and I'll be talking about another goddess mentor who can really support you in that process of birthing your heaven on earth. Thank you for being here. If you have any questions, any comments, please drop them. Let me know. I would love to engage further in this dialogue. And I'd love to know what your experience is in your life right now. Like, are you at a pivotal point in your life where you're really starting to navigate into a new life? And what I mean by that is, are you trying to figure out your next steps of like, what do I want to do now? How do I want to be in the world? If that's you, let me know, and I'd love to hear about what you're going through right now. So, anyways, have such a beautiful day. Thank you for being here, and so many blessings.